Hello, and welcome to this tutorial for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Today I'm going to show you how to build a simple and cheap iron and string farm. This farm is designed to be placed near your base or the place where you're going to be most at. And as long as you're within 80 blocks horizontal and 44 blocks vertical, this farm will produce a decent amount of items. Just keep in mind that any other villager based farm must be out of reach by at least 96 blocks. This is to prevent the villagers from interacting with the wrong farm and break things. The farm works very easy, as we don't have to do anything else than to look at it and empty the storage. The game mechanics behind the farm, however, are more complicated and we need to obey them for the farm to work. I'll explain a bit of the mechanics in this section of the video, but I will go further in depth with the specific mechanics during the building as we come across the various parts. So as said, we don't have to do anything to turn the farm on because it's always on. We start at the top with the villagers and how the spawning of golems work. We have 4 villagers in each room here and 5 rooms, so we have 20 villagers here. All villagers are linked to a bed and to a workstation. This makes this farm a true sweatshop as we have them working day and night for us. From 20 beds and 10 villagers on, this is officially a village and iron golem and cats will spawn in a village. First the iron golems. Every game tick there's a chance for an iron golem to spawn in the village. For that purpose we have a spawning platform that is covered with water. The iron golems can spawn in water and have an area of 23 by 23 to spawn in. As soon as they spawn, however, they spawn in moving water, which takes them to our drop chute and then down to a kill room. When they are at least 6 blocks underneath the village center, the villagers will try and spawn a new golem because they don't detect the last one. This makes it a continuous circle of spawning as we transport all golems down. Once the golems enter the drop chute, they fall through a layer of lava and on top of magma blocks. The layer of lava is on top of signs on the 3rd layer. As the golems are about 2.5 blocks high, their head will remain in the lava to hurt them. The magma blocks underneath hurt them as well, but not as much as the lava. On top of the magma there is water in one corner, so it pushes all items towards the opposite corner where a hopper picks them up. And now for the cats. The villagers also spawn cats as long as there is at least 1 villager and 4 beds. Untamed cats will spawn every 1200 game ticks in a village and they can be adults or kittens. On top of that, in Bedrock Edition we get a periodical stray cat spawn to fill the quota of 1 cat per 4 occupied beds. The cats, like the iron golems, will spawn in water and get transported down. As soon as there are 6 blocks underneath the village center, a new attempt is made to spawn a cat. Once the cats go down the drop chute, they enter the lava and get damaged. They don't get killed from that, but on the bottom they also hit magma and get damaged again. As they float towards the corner, they start to jump, and it means that they hit the lava until they are dead. And when they drop strings, this is picked up by the hopper. Mind you, not all adult cats drop strings and kittens don't drop any at all. The storage I use here is just a basic double chest, but you can expand this or you can connect this up to your massive storage somewhere else. And to round up how the farm works, this farm gives us iron ingots, poppy flowers and string. Farm dimensions are 19 blocks high, 23 blocks wide and 23 blocks deep. All the materials we need are listed in the description below. I have separated the materials into the parts of the farm and made a total tally below that. Alright, so we're gonna start the farm off in the middle. Around the middle we need to place 8 magma blocks. We will leave this block empty for now. Place solid blocks on the outside against all magma blocks except for the corners. Then place light source blocks on the corners. I'm using scene lanterns, but you can use any square light source you want. Then in front we're going to place a double chest. Place 2 hoppers into the double chest. Then place 3 high glass all around. Then in the corner opposite of the hopper we're going to place 1 water. Above that we're placing 9 signs on these 3 blocks. Place lava on top of the signs against the glass in the middle. Don't place it in the corner because then the lava doesn't flow out to all corners. The lava is now on the 3rd block. which means that the iron golems will hit the lava with their head. The drop chute itself needs to be 11 blocks high, that is including the bottom. We already have 3 layers of glass and a 4th layer here. So that is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And we need to do that all around. That is the storage, drop chute and kill room done. Alright, so the spawn platform needs to be a platform of 23 by 23, completely filled with solid blocks. We're gonna start that by placing 1 layer of solid blocks right here on the chute. We need 23 blocks from side to side, so we just need to place 9 blocks now to get to the edge. If you place blocks on the bottom to cover the whole area, then both edges should match. We're gonna do the same this way, but then 11 blocks. We need those 2 extra blocks because we're now counting from the middle. Do that the same on the other side. Then place another 9 blocks on the opposite side. This is the outer edge of the platform and we need to fill it all with solid blocks until we are here. And you now should have a square platform of 23 by 23. We're now going to place all the walls on top of the platform. The walls need to be 2 solid blocks high, then a 3rd layer of glass and all around the platform. The 3rd layer of glass is to prevent spawning on the walls and it prevents the iron golems from climbing on top of the walls. Once an iron golem gets on top of the walls, it just keeps walking around on the wall. They don't fall down and they don't despawn, which means they don't die and then the villagers won't spawn a new iron golem. On the inside of all 4 walls we need to place another layer of solid blocks. The water will be on top of this layer. And now it's time to place that water. I'm going to show you the fastest way in survival to place this water. In creative we can just place bucket after bucket, but in survival we need to create an infinite water source. If we close this off with temporary blocks, we now have created an infinite water source here. Grab the water from the source and place it further along the line to fill all spots. You can do this for all 4 sides and only need 2 water buckets to do it. Once you're done, remove the temporary blocks and the water will flow where it's supposed to go. And with that, we finish the spawn platform. Next it is time to make the villager platform. First off we're gonna close this hole off. Later on we will have some water flowing from the villager chambers and that will then flow down the chute. And because we don't want the lava to turn into obsidian, better to close the hole. I'm gonna start in the middle here. Go 3 blocks high and on the 4th we're gonna make the platform. Remove the 3 blocks here. We have 3 blocks between the 2 platforms so the golems can go underneath the top platform down in the drop chute. From this middle block we're gonna go 5 this way and 5 the other way. Then a layer next to it and on the other side we're gonna do the same. And that makes a platform of 11 by 3. The villagers will be standing on this. We also need to place the 20 beds for them. Place some temporary blocks from the bottom of the platform. We need to make a patch of 2 blocks wide across the whole platform. Then place 10 beds and you can remove the blocks underneath. And on this side we're doing exactly the same. So next up we need to make the chambers for the villagers to stand in. The chambers will be 3 blocks high. We can make the bottom layers of any block we want, as long as the top layer is from glass to prevent spawning. We don't want iron golems on the roof, because they never leave. I am making the whole thing out of glass, but it's up to you if you want to use solid blocks or not. On all edges of the platform place 3 high glass. And then we need to create the chambers itself. This is where some villagers go. Then here, 1 here and 1 here. So close this all off. And we need to let the villagers in from the top, so we leave this open for now. Now we need to place the villagers in the chambers. I'm going to show you how to do this like we're in survival, because most likely you will build a farm in survival. And when building in creative you could use a spawn egg to do this. I have built a villager breeder there that is at least 96 blocks away from the farm, as it should be, but it leaves a big area to cover to get the villagers here. I'm starting at the villager breeder and then I'll switch to survival mode. First we lay the track towards the farm. Once we're near the farm, we need to make the staircase up. We can just use solid blocks for this. Here on the top I'm making sure that we go one block higher than the opening for the villagers to go through. This gives us a bit more wiggle room when dropping the minecarts in the hole. And we also place a solid block opposite to the rails on the other side of the hole. This stops the minecart and makes sure that it falls down. We now need to place the rest of the rails and make sure to power them. Now that this is all done, let's test this with one villager and see if we missed something. We need a total of 20 villagers in the farm and we have 5 chambers, so we need 4 villagers per chamber. An important game mechanic rule here: we can only use villagers that can work, so no children and no nitwits. The reason for this is that nitwits will never work at all and children don't work till they grow up, and then there is a chance that they become a nitwit. So it's best to stick to the adult villagers that don't wear a green jacket. Well, the first villager is now in. We can break the minecart by removing this piece of glass and punching the corner of the minecart, and then it's time to put the rest in. And as you can see, and we probably all know, dealing with villagers in survival takes a long time and some frustration here and there. Skipping a bit forward, I've put all villagers in the chambers and also switched back to creative mode. As long as we are still working with the villagers, I suggest that you leave the tracks for now, because you perhaps need it again if a villager dies. We need to close the top of the chambers with glass and close the holes in the side we made to get to the minecarts. Then we need to place water at their feet and close the hole again. The easiest way to do this is to remove the piece of glass in front of the chamber, then point to the side wall and place the water. If the water won't place, try the other side, and if that doesn't work, give one of the villagers a tap to move them to the back. Just be careful not to hit them too much, so they won't die. The reason for the water at their feet is game mechanic related. As long as they are in the water, they keep their link to their bed and their workstation. And with the beds out of reach, they cannot sleep and they will always work. For an iron golem to spawn, 100% of the villagers must be linked to a bed and at least 75% needs to have worked the previous day. So we have to keep them linked at all times for the farm to work. We can now remove the tracks above the spawn platform. Next thing we need to do is to place the workstations. This, however, is not straightforward done by placing all stations. We need to see which villager links to the station. I'll explain this in more detail in a bit, but first I'll show you how this is done. Place a workstation on top or the side of the glass. See which villager links to the workstation by looking at the green sparkles above the villager and the workstation. Then remove the station you just placed and place it directly in front or at the back of that villager. We need to do this for all 20 villagers. So while I'm showing this in a time lapse, I'll explain a bit more about this. The villagers in Minecraft Bedrock don't link to a station in the order that they are born. This was the case in old versions, but since the Village and Pillage update, this has changed. It now seems randomly done, and to make the farm work, we need 75% of the villagers to work at their stations. When they cannot reach their workstation, they won't work 100% of the time. So to make sure they always can reach their workstation, we want to place it right in front or at their back. If you have problems with linking a villager to their station, for example, you see the sparkles on their workstation but not on any of the villagers, then there's probably a villager somewhere around the farm within 96 blocks that is linked to it. Either kill that villager or place a workstation near that villager to resolve the issue. Alright, so after you've done all 20 villagers, place another workstation against the glass. If this one doesn't link to any villager, it went correct. If it does link, you've made a mistake somewhere and you need to find that mistake by removing the stations one by one to see where. And finally, to finish this farm, we need to remove these 9 blocks so the golems and cats can go down the chute. That is the simple and cheap iron and string farm. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and if you're new here, consider subscribing to my channel for more videos to come. Have a great day and see you next time. Bye bye.